Hey, this is Alpha for Shock's video guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at a new Zerg unit in Heart of the Swarm Host, aptly named. The Swarm Host is a late game, mid-game, late-game Zerg unit, which requires an infestation pit in order to be built, and which functions as a sort of space control siege unit. As we can see here, I've fast-forwarded this replay to a point where Swarm Hosts are out on the map. Here's the little locusts. Now, the Swarm Host costs 200 minerals, 100 gas, and takes up 3 supply. It has 180 HP, as you can see, and it burrows with a 3-second burrow time into the ground in order to spawn its locusts. Now, each Swarm Host spawns 2 locusts, and the cooldown for spawning locusts is 25 seconds. Now, as you can see, the locusts do pretty decent damage, and what's more important is the fact that they have 65 HP, which really causes them to take up quite a bit of damage. As you can see, Swarm Hosts are quite vulnerable to things like Storm. They're also vulnerable to, obviously, if there's an observer out. But they're actually quite fast. They unburrow instantly, and they can burrow right back down and start putting pressure. What this forces your opponent to do is it forces your opponent to either back away or attack into you, because these locusts will gradually whittle away at his army. So we can really see how this would be useful in every matchup. Against Protoss, it's great against that turtle style of Protoss where they're relying on a lot of force fields and zealots. They don't want to be burning those against things like Swarm Hosts. Against Terran, Marines fare pretty poorly against Swarm Hosts. The Marines will win, yes, but Marines will die, and you're basically trading a constantly recharging spell for units that actually cost money. So, and even Stalkers will die to Locusts pretty quickly. Now, they're not very, they can't attack air, so they're not very effective in that sense. And there is a range. They do die, the locusts die on their own, kind of like broodlings, so however far you can get before they run out of time is really how useful they will be at any particular range. But this opens up a lot of possibilities for Zerg play in general, especially because a lot of Zerg players were finding that outside of the Broodlord, there was really no option for siege or continued pressure at a distance. Now, the Swarm Host is basically a ground version of the Broodlord. It's a lot cheaper, it comes out a bit earlier, and it really requires AoE to deal with from the other player, or consistent aggression. Swarm Host is a bit weak at against, multi-pronged drop play, for example. But in general, it's very good at just constantly putting pressure on a location without committing a huge amount of army. These locusts will take down photon cannons, they'll take down bunkers in time, they'll even take out Nexi and kill workers. So it's very, very important for an opponent playing against the Swarm Host to quickly deal with them. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out our existing library of strategies, tips, and more, and our other Heart of the Swarm unit previews, and we'll see you next time.